From a fuse, it runs into a transformer. No word on whether it's an Autobot or a Decepticon. Greetings, programs. Atari here, you there, and if you like watching him, her, him, or her, then you'll probably dig this channel. So hit the subscribe button and click the bell notification icon so you don't miss anything. Now let's roll. So in my last video, you can watch that one up here in the corner, we took a look at these holiday fairy lights to see how they worked, one, and to come up with some way of siphoning 120 volts off of this strand, which I was able to do. Now, what I need to do is use that 120 volts to power a Raspberry Pi 3A+. The Raspberry Pi requires 5 volts and 2.5 amps. So I have this very common Raspberry Pi official power supply that provides 5 volts at 3 amps. That way I've got plenty of power to work with. But you'll notice that it has good old dual prongs there, like so many of our standard North American outlets. And then on this end it has a USB connector, which we're not going to use. We're just going to use the, we're just going to wire it directly into the Pi. But for the sake of aesthetics, I want to put as much of this into one piece as I possibly can, and you'll see why once this project is finished. Or you can just go ahead and go over to element14.com and watch the whole dang thing put together. This is just much more detail. So the end result is that I need to pull this guy apart, and we'll take a look at how it works and put something more interesting together. Stay tuned. Oh, by the way, this video is part of a series documenting a project for Element 14 Presents. So check out the show notes down in the doobly-doo that'll take you over there, and it'll take you to the Element 14 community, the electronics engineering community, where you can connect and collaborate with top engineers from around the world. Do check it out and click on element14.com/presents, and I will see you over there. So I have my adapter here, I have my warranty voiding tools, and now I'm going to try and get this thing open to try and see what's inside here. Now, word of caution, I am messing around with stuff that utilizes mains voltage, which in the United States is 120 volts and 15 amps. Not something you really want to mess around with if you don't know what you're doing. So, please, safety third, please be safe, please know your limitations, and don't dive into this kind of stuff if you're not really that familiar with it. I have been shocked on multiple occasions, and it's not entertaining in the least. In fact, it's quite painful, and it can kill you. So, there's your warning, and let's dive into this thing.
So you got, I'll give you your reading.
Ow! Ow! Now, before we take a look at the board, this is just basically how an AC adapter works. So we start with alternating current coming in to a general protection fuse that burns out, shuts off the whole thing. Bob's your uncle, don't work anymore. From the fuse, it runs into a transformer. No word on whether it's an Autobot or a Decepticon, but the transformer will bring it down into a usable range voltage from the transformer into a rectifier, which rectifiers are interesting because they take alternating current and they basically are just a set of check valves. Essentially, they're diodes. It's a diode bridge. So you have just a series of diodes, which basically turns the alternating current and doesn't let it go back in the other direction from either side, forces it to go in one direction. So that's kind of what's going on here in the rectifier. And then from the rectifier into a little bit of signal conditioning. That's usually a set of capacitors and resistors that will just filter out a lot of the noise and make a nice little DC signal going out. Now, I have very grossly oversimplified this, so if you would like to correct or add to this, please do so in the Element 14 community at element14.com/present. It's linked in the doobly-doo. That's where I will look, and that's where we all learn, and that's where we all grow together. Now, moving on, let's grab that board. Okay, so here we have the board. Here we have our AC in right here. Fuse, a signal filtering capacitor. We got the transformer here. Looks like it leads to this bridge rectifier right here, and then that's connected to this, what is that? It's an 8520 series signal rectifier IC, not to be confused with the 8520, the MOS 8520, which was one of the CIA chips for the Commodore 64. So, and then we go into a little bit of signal conditioning. Again, it's a little more complicated than you see right here, obviously. But signal conditioning on this side, and then it just goes out to a nice 5 volt, 3 amp, positive negative line right here. And there just happens to be 2 wires, so it makes wiring it very simple and very easy. Now that is how an AC adapter works in a nutshell. Connect with me on Instagram at the AirborneSurfer or Twitter at AirborneSurfer. If you would like to see more of this project, click the link up here. You'll see the whole thing. Over here is a video that YouTube thinks you will probably enjoy. Down here is the subscribe button so you don't miss anything. Over here are the show notes. You can get all the stuff that's being used in these projects and everything else right there. My name is Atari, and until next time, tally ho, y'all.